Welcome to Wealth Made Simple with Shaz, where you'll learn how to master your money through business, property, and tax-saving strategies. Your host has collectively helped his clients make tens of millions of pounds in additional profits through these strategic approaches to business. Introducing Shaz Nawaz, an award-winning chartered accountant, property tax expert, entrepreneur, and property investor.
So in this episode, I'm going to be talking to you about the things you can implement very quickly to change your financial situation and to attract more wealth. The first one, which might seem very obvious, but it's the obvious stuff that works and it's the obvious stuff that people miss, is don't spend more money than you earn. And again, I've lost count of the number of people I speak to who top up how much they need every month by taking some kind of a loan or maxing out their credit cards and getting deeper and deeper into debt. And the wealthy, look at them, study them, observe them, talk to them, okay, live within their means and well within their means. They are disciplined about how much money they actually spend. And it's tempting once you get a pay rise to think, okay, now where can I spend the additional pay rise? Because we all are guilty of some extent, or to some extent. And I say all, I mean the majority of the trappings of life. Somebody wants a bigger house, a bigger, better car, or a different car, more holidays or a holiday, more clothes, better clothes, a watch, so on and so forth. Whatever somebody's desire might be, and different people obviously are attracted to different things. But it's, being patient, okay, makes a huge difference. So just don't spend the pay rise, using the earlier example that I shared with you, just because you've earned one. Look at how you can invest that. So, and look at all your expenditure and live within your means. And the biggest thing you can do, by the way, here is to set a particular percentage towards the things that you're going to spend money on. So you could say from your salary or your income, the maximum you're willing to spend on your rent or your mortgage is 25% of your income. Could be 30%, could be 35%. Different people will give you a different number, but you choose what you think is the right number. The lower you keep it, the better, obviously. And then do the same for the other regular expenditure that you pay out. Set a cap and a limit, and then stay disciplined and stick to that. And that way, once you've established the key expenditure that you have, and you can then work out how much cash you have left over or how much money you have left over, and you can then invest that in some form of a return, which will soon start increasing and improving. So that's step number one. Don't spend more money than you earn. The second one is linked to your mindset, is understand and be clear on what wealth creation means to you and for you. So do you want to create wealth because you want lots of money in your bank account? Is it because you want to retire early? Is it because you want that bigger house, bigger, better car, more holidays, so on and so forth? Is it because you want to provide for your family and create a legacy? Is it because you want to send your children, let's say, to private school? Is it because you want to help the community around you? Is it some other activity that you want to participate in? Is it because you want to help the people who need it most? Again, different people have a different motivation, but understand, learn what your motivation is. And generally speaking, the balance here tends to be kind of three ways. Let's say a third is about yourself, what it means to you. A third is about the people within your circle, i.e. your family and your friends and your neighborhood and your community. And the final third is on a wider perspective, which is helping people who are less fortunate. But you don't have to have it in that particular proportion as I've just said. It doesn't have to be a third each. You do what's right for you, but understand what motivates you to create more wealth, because that's what's going to keep you going. The third one is think about how you can make your money work for you. So obviously, if you spend it all, then there's nothing left at the end of the month. It's not working for you. And if you have that plan, by the way, then you're not going to be able to attract wealth very quickly. But if you start saving money, then you'll be able to track where when I say save, I mean save and then invest. You can then start looking at, once you have a certain size or amount invested, you can then start looking at which investment gives you the best return. Is it the stock market? Is it property? Is it buying gold, silver, buying watches? Whatever you might buy which you feel, believe will appreciate. And by the way, not every single watch appreciates. So if you're looking to invest in watches, make sure you pick the ones that actually appreciate in value. But that won't give you a cash flow advantage. That's pure capital appreciation. So I always say, when you're making investments, always look for regular cash flow, i.e. monthly cash flow, and then capital appreciation should be seen as a bonus. But once you've got some size of a portfolio, which should be diversified, by the way, you shouldn't just put all your eggs in one particular basket, then look at, how can I make my money work harder for me so I don't have to work as hard? That should be part of the goal, I believe and feel. And then with that, you can then think about, okay, have a figure for how much is enough, and then work towards that figure and say, once I have this amount, I can retire, or I can work less, or I can choose to do the work that I really enjoy, or I can choose to work with the people I really want to work with, or I can now do things without having to think about money and go out there and help the community and society at large. But making your money work harder for you than you do yourself is going to be a profound game changer for you. Fourth one is be patient. And by be patient, I mean give your investments time to grow and expand and flourish. There's no real get-rich-quick scheme, and I'm not going to talk about any current ones that are out there that people are talking about, because most of them end up failing miserably. And if you're like me, and you might try some of those, I'm one of those people where when I try them, I fail miserably at it too. The fourth one, which is again a game changer, is understanding the power and the benefit of compounding. So seeing how much money you make and when you invest and reinvest, the return that you get. And people generally kind of talk about this when it comes to interest. So I'll step away from that and just talk about having an actual return on investment. So let's say you invest £100 and your return is 8%. I'm just making that number up, by the way. And so that's £8 a year. And let's say that's the actual, as opposed to capital growth, that's some form of income that you've received. And let's say you're going to pay some tax on it. Just keep it really simple. Let's say you've got £6 left after having paid tax. That isn't the exact number, but I'm just sharing an example with you. And then you reinvest the £6. So in year 2, now you've got £100 plus 106. And then you apply the 8% growth on that, so on and so forth. So very slowly, but quickly after, in a way, you'll start seeing a compound effect on the return that you generated, and that's going to compound your overall return over a number of years. So don't underestimate the power of compounding. I think it's Warren Buffett who talks about this and talks about how he's created a substantial amount of his wealth due to compounding, and that's investing and reinvesting. Rather than investing, getting a return and spending the return, curb that particular desire and reinvest it, and you'll see the real power of compounding. It in itself is a game changer. The sixth tip for you to create a strong foundation for creating wealth is understanding the power of leverage. And leverage is, when we're talking purely about wealth, is where you're using other people's resource. So let's say you're investing in property and you've got £100,000 to invest, and you realize you can put £20,000 deposit on a particular house. Again, just making up the numbers to keep it really simple. So you buy 5 houses by putting down 20,000 per house, and then you've got no more money left, and then you stop. And what people tend to do, generally speaking, is wait for some capital appreciation over, say, 5 years, and then they refinance, and then try and pull some more money out, and then reinvest that. But why wait those 5 years? And it doesn't have to be 5 years, by the way, it could be a different period of time. But why wait that long? Why not now try and find people who have money but don't have time, and use their money and your knowledge, okay, and invest with them using their money and your knowledge. And that's how leverage works in terms of money. There's leverage in terms of network. There's leverage in terms of knowledge, resource. So leverage doesn't just have to be about money, but when we're talking about wealth creation, then leveraging other people's network, their know-how, and the access to funding or money, again, is going to be a game changer for you over time. Number 7, which I think is extremely important, and we're all guilty of this, by the way, is don't compare yourself to other people's wealth goals, because then it's never going to be enough. So you first compare to people who are your friends, let's say, then your peers, then your neighbors, then your relatives, and then as you become more and more wealthy, you're always looking up to the next person, and in a way thinking you're not achieving enough and what you have is not sufficient. Yet when you look around, what you've achieved is more than sufficient. So being grateful and having gratitude for where you are, and looking at people who are behind you on the journey, okay, is going to give you more positive reward than thinking next, and trying to climb that greasy pole and ladder, thinking what you have is not enough. So don't compare your goals to anybody else, be it their goals be bigger or smaller. Compare your goals to yourself and what's important to you. And that isn't just about wealth creation, by the way. This applies to all walks of life. Don't compare your life to anybody else's. Compare your life to what you want to achieve, and think about what you want to improve, if you want to improve it, what you want to change, if you want to change it, and stay within that confinement. You'll have more solace, you'll have more gratitude, and you'll see bigger and better results, because you'll be focusing on yourself rather than focusing on other people. Number 8 is do not take shortcuts. Everybody wants a shortcut. So when I'm out there, out and about speaking, quite often I get asked, what's the one thing that I can do to change my finances, my business, okay, my way of thinking about wealth, or my financial situation, so on and so forth. And if somebody doesn't ask about the one, they usually ask about the 3. But there is no 1 and 3, by the way. Today I'm sharing with you quite a few different tips, because there are quite a few different tips, and you have to implement pretty much all of them in order to see results. So don't look for shortcuts. Look at what more can I do to achieve what I'm looking to do, rather than thinking what's the least that I can do. Because those who think least think lack, those who think most think abundance. And guess what? The ones who are thinking abundance are the ones who achieve. Number 9 is never stop learning. And you'll have heard the kind of reasonably well-known saying, the more you learn, the more you earn. And that is absolutely true. So learn about stuff that you're interested in. And a friend of mine once told me, there's no such thing as uninteresting topics. All there is uninterested people. So learn about things that you're interested in, and improve your day every day by spending a bit of time learning about whatever you want to learn about. Whether you spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, and the more time you spend, the more fruitful it's going to be for you. Number 10 is think about how you can create greater value to generate more wealth. So how can you make yourself more useful to the service of others. Because if you do that, you're creating more value, therefore you're more valuable. Then when we talk about leverage, when we talk about wealth goals, then when we talk about learning, all of these things interconnect with this thing here. Because when you have more value to people, then people will be of more value to you, because naturally they'll want to help and support you to achieve what you're looking to achieve. So those are the 10 points that I think you ought to know about. Now you might be asking, well, how do I go about creating more income? And I'll share some tips with you on that. Number one is, if you're employed, think about having some kind of a business or a side business. And whatever business that is, it's up to you. You choose what works for you. Number two, think about increasing your income, either through employment or through your business or through some other source, like using leverage, like using investment, like cutting your expenditure every month and investing that and getting that to earn you income. Third, improve your skill set in terms of wealth creation, in terms of money management, in terms of having a better mindset. The fourth one I already covered for you previously is create a budget and stick to that budget. Discipline means a lot, and Kieran and I have talked about in the past, success leaves clues. Well, the people who are most successful are the ones who are the most disciplined usually. So be disciplined. Number five, have an emergency fund, and that's for your rainy day, because things might be good today. It doesn't mean they'll be good forever. So have a rainy day fund. Sixth is pay off your debts, because most likely there'll be accruing interest. And if they are, then you're paying interest, which you could be saving and investing. So pay off your debt as quickly as you can. The seventh one I covered with you previously, live well below your means. People say within your means. I think you should live well below your means, and the rest of your means, invest the surplus as best as you can. Invest in the stock market, you can invest in property, create yourself a retirement plan where you can save money and create income and wealth, and that will help you retire earlier. Become comfortable in dealing with debt, and if you're in debt, and loads of people are in debt, work a plan, as hard as it may seem, to get out of that particular situation, because it may be hard, but it's even harder if you stay in that particular situation. And finally, today I want to cover with you something called the Wheel of Life. And I think this is incredibly important, and you can search this online. And how this works basically is, let's say you draw a circle, and in the middle of the circle, draw lines going out to the edge of the circle, and how many, let's call them spokes, and how many spokes you have depends on how many things you want to track. So generally speaking, in the Wheel of Life, people track health, finance, career, family, personal growth, personal goals, spirituality, relationships, hobbies, etc. Other people may track it in different ways, where they call it emotional, occupational, intellectual, environmental, financial, social, physical, spirit. And once you draw those spokes from the center, put numbers on each spoke. So the closest to the center is 1, going all the way up to number 10 for each single spoke, each single line. And then give yourself a mark for each of area that you've chosen and how well that's working for you. And you'll see it's not going to be a clear 10 in each area. Some may be 2, some may be 3, some may be 5. So you'll create another diagram within the circle, which will look quite odd, and it'll be up and down with ebbs and flows, peaks and troughs in terms of the way it looks. And use that then to see which areas of your life you want to improve. So if health's down, focus on health. Finance is down, focus on finance. Career, family, so on and so forth. And then create a place where you have, let's say, 8 out of 10 for all of them, 9 out of 10, and aspire towards 10 out of 10. And the Wheel of Life will give you direction in terms of where you're lacking and where you ought to focus. And of course, in that, I've said finance. Instead of finance, you could have wealth. And that covers all of the kind of main important things for you in your life. And that will give you direction. So that's all I have time for today in terms of covering the foundations for creating wealth. I've covered a whole host of areas for you, from getting to know your money to investing in yourself, being around the right people, having clear goals, and then I've given you loads of tips in terms of using leverage, compounding, making your money work harder for you, to carry on learning, to creating an additional income stream, to getting comfortable with debt, to getting rid of all of those stories you heard as a child which may be holding you back, to being comfortable talking about money. So I hope you found this particular topic on wealth made simple useful, and I hope it's going to contribute towards you being more wealthy, whatever wealth may be for you.
Thanks for listening to Wealth Made Simple. You can follow and contact Shaz on the Facebook pages Entrust Property Tax and The Profits Wizard. You can also find Shaz on LinkedIn, YouTube and Instagram. Alternatively, email him at shaz@aa-accountants.co.uk. Build your wealth by mastering money.